Hello, boys and girls. Good evening, and welcome to this live session on the General Intelligence and Reasoning section for the SSC CHSL exam brought to you by TalentSprint. I hope all of you are in the pink of your health and your preparation for this exam, the SSC CHSL exam, Tier 1 exam, is in high gear, right? Well, like you all know, the exam began a couple of weeks back, and it is gonna last till mid-Feb, right? So I'm sure there are many students out here who have already taken this exam, right, in the slots gone by, and there are others who are yet to take it, right? Their exam is scheduled in the coming days. So we would have a mix of the audience here. I would appreciate if those who have taken the exam already share some feedback about how it was, how did they perform, and how confident are they about clearing this one. And then we can move on to discuss the previous year paper. I see some of you have already joined the chat. A few names here are Purvika, Samiksha, then we have Devinder, Sudharani, Ranjan, Veerachari, KSR, and many others there. And then there's Rashmi, who was commented that I already attended my SSC CHSL exam yesterday with 85% accuracy. Can I clear this? I'm also waiting for IBPS clerk's main result. Well, Rashmi, I think you've done a good job. 85% accuracy is decent enough, right? But then I am not in a position to answer your question. I mean, if you ask me, can I clear this? I don't know. Because you know that it all depends on not only your performance, but performance of all the lakhs of students who are taking this exam or who are going to take this exam in all these slots put together. Okay, so keep your fingers crossed, be confident about your performance, and keep preparing for the Tier 2 examination as well, right? Do not wait for the results to be announced, right? If you are confident, you should start your preparation for the next round. And good to see that you have also cleared the IBPS clerk's preliminary examination, and now you're waiting for the mains exam result. So I hope you get a positive result in both the exams and you get to start your dream career this year. How about others? Purvika says, I wrote my SSC exam, 70% accuracy. I think more than accuracy, what I am interested in is the number of questions that you have solved. You know that with the changed pattern now this year, there are 100 questions in Tier 1 examination, right? 25 each from quantitative aptitude, general intelligence and reasoning, English comprehension, and general awareness. So how many questions were you able to answer out of these 100? And then only this percentage of accuracy that you've given here matters. I mean, if you say 70% accuracy, what does it mean? Did you attempt all the 100 questions? Did you solve all the 100 questions? Waiting for others to respond here. I think there are two chats going on parallelly. So just give me like 30 seconds while I get the second chat up and I can read the comments from both of them. Meanwhile, I'll leave you all with the title slide for the session today. Just give me 30 seconds. All right. So any more feedback about the SSC CHSL Tier 1 examination, which is going on now? And how many of you are yet to take this exam? Rohan is here talking about the Indian Bank PO Prelims examination. So I think a lot of you are appearing for multiple exams parallelly, which is a good sign, right? You must keep trying for different exams, right? You never know which one would you be able to crack. So good to see that. If there's no more feedback about the CHSL exam that has begun a couple of weeks back, we can start our discussion. Now, you must be aware that we have been doing these free live sessions for the CHSL exam for the last 3 weeks, right? This is the third session. We have already had one session each on English comprehension and quantitative aptitude. And in today's session, we'll be looking at the general intelligence and reasoning section. Now, you know that this is the first time that the CHSL exam has gone online, and the scheme of examination is also changed, which we have discussed about already, 25 questions per section. So we will be looking at about 20-25 questions in the session today from the general intelligence and reasoning section. What kind of topics are tested here? Topics like coding and decoding, analogy, right? Again, that includes letter analogy, number analogy, word analogy, classification, right? Odd one out. Then we have questions from non-verbal reasoning like mirror images, water images, embedded figures, right? Figure completion, figure series, and other topics which include blood relations, directions, syllogisms, some questions from critical reasoning, cubes and dies, and things like that. So I have also got a paper here, paper of 25 questions. Well, these 25 questions have been chosen from the previous year's CHSL papers, right? So mostly questions are asked from coding and decoding, number series, missing numbers, right? And a lot of questions from non-verbal reasoning again, right? So we can get started now. I'll share the screen that I have. We have chosen some questions from the previous year's papers, like I mentioned. Present the questions to you all, give you some appropriate time to try it out, and then discuss the solutions. But in general, let me tell you, the general intelligence and reasoning section of all the SSC exams is the easiest, right? And you should not be surprised if a good number of students are able to score 100% marks in this section of the exam, right? I mean, we have seen last year when there was this SSC CHSL exam where the weightage for each section is 50 marks. There were a good number of students who have scored 50 on 50, right? And 45 plus is like a cakewalk for a lot of students. So what I'm trying to tell you here is that this is a score booster, right? This particular section is really a score booster, high scoring section. So make sure that you leave no stone unturned to maximize your score in this section here, right? There are other sections like general awareness where you may not be able to answer all the questions, right? I mean, you never know how many questions would you be able to answer out of the 50 or 25 questions asked. Again, in quantitative aptitude, due to the time crunch, maybe you will not be able to solve every question there, right? Although that's not impossible, but overall, if you see out of all the 4 sections, this is the easiest one. Not only scoring, right, but also least time consuming, right? Each question would take about 15-20 seconds to crack. So if there are like 25 questions, you will be done in about 500 seconds, which is 8 to 9 minutes. So make sure that you start your exam with this section, right? And nobody can come back and come and tell me that I am not so good in this section here, because this, in my view, is really very easy. The type of questions that are usually asked are very simple. I don't know about the pattern this year. That is what I was waiting for, but looks like not many who have taken the exam already have joined the session today. Okay, so shall we start then? I'll present the questions to you one after the other and discuss the solutions. We have very limited time for the session, just about 45 minutes left. There's a question from Bhargavi here. It says, I'm going to write SSC for the first time. Is it the same pattern as IBPS or is it different? Well, Bhargavi, the pattern is not same as IBPS, but yeah, syllabus is largely the same, right? Like I've mentioned, there are 4 sections here in the Tier 1 round. And these sections are quantitative aptitude, general intelligence and reasoning, English comprehension, and general knowledge or general awareness. You'll be asked 25 questions per section. And if you compare this with IBPS exams, quantitative aptitude and English sections are largely similar, right? In fact, there are additional topics in quantitative aptitude here when compared to IBPS. General intelligence and reasoning section is quite different because we don't get questions from arrangements, machine input output, puzzles, etc. in SSC exams. And again, general awareness is also very different from what is asked in bank exams, but not difficult, right? Different, but not difficult. You can very easily get ready for this exam in a few days of time. So all the very best to all those who are yet to take this examination. I wish all of you clear this and get called for the next round, which is the tier 2. Right. So got some confirmations here. Yeah. Are we good to go? Rohan says this year's the bank prelims exams had major changes. Yeah, we had seen that the type of questions asked this year in the IBPS exams especially have gone a major change, have undergone a major change. And our programs are getting ready in line with that, right? Okay, I think time now to start. So let me share my screen to all of you and present the questions. So the first few questions on your screens now. So like you all can see, these are questions related to analogy. Okay, 3 questions where we have to select the related letter, word, or number from the given alternatives. All right. So you can see the first question is based on word analogy. The second one is based on letter analogy. And the third one is based on number analogy. Okay. So what exactly has to be done here? If you see the first question, it says quack is to duck. In a similar way, nay is to what? So basically the words quack and duck are related to each other. There's some relationship between these two words. A similar relationship exists between nay and the missing word here. So we have to find out what should come in place of question mark so that the relationships here are analogous, right? This symbol you know is read as is to. So quack is related to duck. Quack is related to duck. These two here means in a similar way. In a similar way, nay is related to what? And similarly, we have to find out the answers for the second and third questions as well. So I'll give you about a minute or so to answer all these 3, and your time starts now. Okay, I see that a few of you have mentioned that the image is not clear, right? I think Purvika says the image is not clear, and there's one unknown person here who says the video is not clear. So what I would request you all to do is adjust the picture resolution using the settings button, which is available on the bottom right of your video screens, right? We are using the YouTube player to stream this live session. I'm sure you just have to adjust the picture resolution at your end in order to optimize the picture quality. Okay, so there's the settings button on the bottom right of your video player, gear-like icon. Click on that and change the resolution based on your internet connection. Okay, 360 or 480 or 720 or HD, right? Try to optimize it based on your bandwidth there to get the best quality output. All right, so a few of you have answered the first question here, and I see that everybody has marked horse as the answer. Right, we have Samikshananda, then KSR, and Aman Mehrotra. All 3 of them have marked horse as the answer to the first one. How about the second and the third questions? Veerachari has also got answer as option 2. How about the second one, which is based on letter analogy? So here there is a group of letters, and there's some relationship between the first pair. You have to find out a similar relationship between the second pair, or find out the missing word based on a similar relationship in the second pair. And then the third one here is on numbers, number analogy. Okay, so KSR has got the answer to the second one. He says it should be GFDE. I think you guys have to speed up a little bit I was expecting quicker responses than what I see here, right? Rohan has got all the 3 answers here, right? Horse, GFDE, and 19, 361, 342. Veerachari has marked the third one as well, second option. Bhargavi has got the answer to the second one, and Bhargavi says it should be first option. So there's some mismatch in your responses to the question 2, right? While most of you have got option D, Bhargavi has got option A. 10 more seconds and then we'll take up these 3 questions. Quick. Sarmishta has got GFDE, option D for the second question here. How about others? Okay, time is up. Let's look at the solutions now. So read the directions. It says select the related letter or word or number from the given alternatives. So like I've told you, this is the topic called analogy, and we have got enough videos on analogy in our TalentSprint's online SSC exam prep course. Okay, and we have covered all these 3 types of questions, right? Word analogy, letter analogy, and number analogy. So all of you can refer to those videos and get some idea onto how to solve these questions or what should be the approach while solving such questions. If you look at the first one, it says quack is related to duck. In a similar way, nay is related to what? Quack is related to duck. In a similar fashion, in a similar way, nay is related to what? You have to find out what comes in place of question mark. Now, if you have gone through the video, I have explained a technique there, which makes it very easy to eliminate options in such questions, or get some idea on the given words. All you have to do is try to make a sentence using the first 2 words, right? The first pair is complete, right? Quack is related to duck. So try to make a sentence using these 2 words, proper sentence using these 2 words. Now, for those who are aware, you would know that quack is the sound made by duck, right? Quack is the sound made by duck, right? Or we can say a duck quacks, basically, right? That quack quack sound. So quack is the sound made by duck. Then nay is the sound made by dash. So if quack is related to duck, which is the sound made by duck, then nay is the sound made by which animal? Now this, of course, involves some general knowledge. Those who all are not aware of these things like sounds made by different animals will not be able to answer it. There is no formula to get the answer. If you're looking for a formula or a shortcut, let me make it very clear, there is no shortcut. You either know the answer or you do not know the answer. But one thing that can help you, come close to the answer is making the sentence. If you form the sentence, then it becomes easier to eliminate options. May not be in all the cases, but at least in some cases you can eliminate the options. So quack is the sound made by duck, then nay is the sound made by dash. It is the sound made by horse, right? The sound made by horse is nay. So basically, if you want to answer such questions easily, you must kind of read some stuff on, sounds made by animals, and the younger ones of these animals, and other things there, right? We also have got a list of questions based on the same word analogy. You can go through that and get a lot of knowledge there, right? It's all about knowing these things, right? But if you do not know anything about this, just skip and move to the next one. Do not waste your time in such questions, right? Look at the next one. Question based on letter analogy. It says SRPQ is related to ONLM, is similar to ONLM. In a similar way, KJHI would be related to what? KJHI is related to what? Now, the best approach in answering, letters-based analogy questions is to go by the positions of these letters as per the alphabetical order, right? And if you have learned A to Z by heart, not A to Z by heart, but their positions by heart, right? A is number 1, B is number 2, C is number 3, and so on. It would be really very easy to verify that. So let's just go by the position. Like for example, S, is the 19th letter. A is the R is 18th letter. How about P? P is 16th, and Q is 17th. So basically, their positions are 19, 18, 16, 17. How about O, N, L, M? O is 15th letter, N is the 14th letter, L is 12th letter, and M is 13th letter. Now try to simply connect the first letter in the first pair with the first letter in the second word. First letter in the first word with the second letter in the second word, right? 19 to 18. What do you see? -4. Then 18 to 14. What is it? -4. 16 to 12. -4. 17 to 13. -4. So very clearly, the pattern here is that you go backwards by 4 letters to get the second word. Now apply the same thing here as well. What is K? K is the 11th letter. What is 11 minus 4? 11 minus 4 is 7. So the 7th letter will be the starting of the second word here. So 7th letter is G. So look for the options. Here, unfortunately, all the options are starting with G. You cannot eliminate anything. Now go for the next position. J. J, you know, is the 10th letter. Now 10 minus 4 is 6. What is the 6th letter? 6th letter is F. So second letter has to be F. Now look at the options. Option A gets eliminated because here we have GE. While what is required here is GF. Then go for the next position, H. H, you all know, is the 8th letter. 8 minus 4 is 4. And the 4th letter is D. So option B also gets eliminated because we have GFD and GFD only in C and D here. And finally, I. I is the 9th letter. 9 minus 4 is 5. And the 5th letter is E. So it should end with E. Option D is the answer. Okay, so that's like number series. You have to find out the logic behind the letters used in the two words. Apply the same logic to get the required answer. Move to the third one, based on number analogy. So here you have got 3 numbers, basically a triplet in each set here, right? 11 is to 121 is to 110. In a similar way, 15 is to 225 is to 10. In a similar way, what will come in place of question mark? So basically here we have got kind of 3 numbers which form a triplet. So there is some relationship between the 3 numbers here. We have to establish that relationship and find out which option satisfies the same here to replace the question mark. Now very quickly, as soon as you see 11 and 121, you get to know that this is 11 squared. So this is basically the number squared, 11 squared. Similarly, 15 and 225, this is 15 squared. So the second number in the triplet is actually the square of the first number, right? It's the square of the first number. So if you'd like to verify this in the options, do it very quickly. Now if you see the first option, 9 and 9 square, yes, option A satisfies that. Look at option B, 19 and 19 square. Yes, 19 square is 361. So option B also satisfies. Look at option C, 17. You know that the next number should be 17 squared. What is 17 squared? Is it 288? No. So option C gets eliminated because I want 17 squared to come in the next position. Similarly, if you look at option D, 16 is to 225. You know that 16 squared is 256. And here we have got 225. So option D also gets eliminated. So the 2 possible answers are A and B. A or B. Now try to establish the logic behind the second and third numbers. What do you think has been done here? See, 121 minus 11. 11 squared minus 11 will give you 110. 11 squared minus 11. So basically second number minus first number will give you the third number. Similarly, 15 squared minus 15, right? 225 minus 15 is 210. 225 minus 15 is 210. So the idea is to take the square of the number and subtract the number from that to get the third number. So in option A, it should be 81 minus 9. 9 squared minus 9. What is 81 minus 9? 72. But what do we have here? 70. Option A also gets eliminated. So definitely option B has to be the correct answer. If you verify, what do we get? 19 squared minus 19. So 361 minus 19 is, yes, 342. So option B is the correct answer. While the explanation has taken a little bit of time, you should know that it won't take so much time to answer the questions when you're doing it for yourself, right? I think these 3 questions should take about, what, at best 40 seconds for you to arrive at the correct answers. Of course, the first one is not based on any logic or, I mean, of course, there's some logic involved, but not based on a formula, right? You must know about these words. You must have that knowledge of, what quack and nay means, right? What is the relationship between the given words? Otherwise, analogy-based questions are usually very easy to solve. So I just hope all of you have got 3 on 3 in the first 3 questions here, right? Option B, option D, and option B are the answers. Clear, all of you? Any confusions here? Shall we move to the next one? I think Akash Bhatia here has asked a very interesting question. He says, please tell what should be the minimum attempt to clear the exam. Now, I know that the session is meant for the discussion on general intelligence and reasoning, but since it's an interesting one, I would like to take it up, right? So Akash, for the benefit of others, I'll repeat the question. What should be the minimum attempt to clear the exam? Now, I want all of you to respond to Akash. What do you think should be the minimum attempts, minimum number of questions that one has to attempt to clear this exam? I think Suresh Kumar says 80 questions, right? Suresh is the only one who's responded to this one. How about others? The question is, how many should we attempt? Out of 100, how many should we attempt? Akash says, I've been attempting the exam since last 4 years, but this time the paper is easy. Okay, do as much as possible. 80, 90, as many as you can. There is no minimum. These are the responses that I'm reading out, right? 85, 82, 90. I don't know how has Mahesh arrived at the number 82, right? Minimum number of attempts, Mahesh says it should be 82. What is that calculation? Purvika says it should be 70 to 80, right? Bhargavi has mentioned it should be 60 to 70. And Prashant here says, what should be the minimum number of attempts for the OC category? Now, this is like added problem, right? Minimum number of attempts for the general category. $75 or $85. Yeah. So I think most of you have kind of, I mean, if I look at the average there, it is about 80 questions. Most of you have mentioned that we should attempt about 80 questions to clear this exam. The minimum number of questions is 80. But I have a different view, and I think I've mentioned this about 178 times already through my live sessions. There is no minimum number of questions to be attempted that one should be worried about, right? I think you are going in a wrong direction. Not just Akash, but all those who feel that I should attempt minimum 80 questions are going in a wrong direction, because you never know what the paper would be like. Usually, like I've mentioned in the beginning, general intelligence and reasoning section is very easy, but who knows if they make it very complex this time. See, going with a mindset that I have to attempt minimum 80 questions will actually hamper your performance in the exam. Because by any chance, if you're unable to do that in the first couple of sections, you'll realize how easy or difficult the paper is. If you're unable to do that, then you'll be worried. You'll be worried that I'll not be able to attempt 80 questions, and hence I've anyway lost it. You're getting it? The only target that all of you must have is that I have to attempt all the 100 questions. If there are 100 questions in this exam, make sure that you attempt all the 100 questions. Now, I have a slightly different meaning for the word attempt here, right? I know for you, attempt means to answer the question, but for me, attempt means to read the question and come back, right? So if there are 100 questions in the exam, you should make sure that you have read all the 100 questions before you step out of the examination hall. You answer only 60 of these 100, doesn't matter. 65, 70, 80, 90 out of these 100 questions, that's a different story, right? You answer only 40 out of these 100 questions, that's a different story. But make sure that you have read all the 100 questions and come back. Play all the 50 overs, like they say in cricket, right? Play all the 100 questions and come back. Don't solve some of them, right? Like greatest of the batsmen skip many balls, right? They skip many deliveries because they know that there is a risk involved. I may get caught, right? Similarly, and their target is to play all the 50 overs. So they're saving their wicket. You also have to do the same thing, right? Attempt all the 100 questions. You may not have to solve all 100 of them. You're getting it, right? Solving only 80 is fine. But coming out of the examination hall and saying that I did not even read the last 20 questions because the time was not sufficient is the worst that one can go through, all right? Because you never know how easy those questions were. Maybe all those questions are very easy to crack, okay? So, you know, what I'm trying to tell you here is make sure that you maintain that pace. If you've been given 1 hour to attempt 100 questions or 2 hours to attempt 100 questions, whatever be the format, you know, accordingly, strategize your preparation, strategize, have a strategy for your exam, that 1 or 2 hours of the examination, and go through all the questions, okay? That is the only target that all of you must have. And whatever you can solve, you have to solve. And this also tells you that you have to choose your questions wisely. What we have observed, and I'm sure all of you will agree with me on this, is that many a times, most of the students get stuck in questions which are complex. A smart student will skip that question immediately. And this especially happens in the bank exams where we have been asked puzzles and questions based on arrangements, right? In my view, the best way to solve a question based on complex arrangements or a puzzle is not to solve it. Just skip and move to the next one, because you never know how much time it is going to take, right? Whether you'll get the answer or not, and how many minutes you will have to spend. So when there are so many questions and doubts involved, you better skip it and go to the next one. Choose your questions wisely. Answer the easier ones first, and then if time permits, come back, right? Of course, CHSL exams are different from bank exams. Here, like I've said, general intelligence and reasoning is actually very easy. So you can attempt all the 25 questions and you will solve all the 25 questions, I'm sure. But in general, make sure that you don't have any minimum attempts kind of a target, right? You have to attempt all the questions, solve as many as possible. Okay. I think with that, let's move to the next one now. I'll share the screen again and present the next set of questions. So just give me a second. Okay. So let's move to the next one. Sharing my screen here. And here we go. All right. So the next set of questions here are from are from the topic called classification, right? Or odd one out. You must be aware of this game called odd one out, right? I'm sure many of us have played this in our childhood, right? So it says identify the odd one out of the following questions. Identify the odd one out of the following questions. Odd one out in the following questions. So if you see the first question here has got 4 options. I mean, there's no question answers, just the options here. So in the first question, we've got 4 options, which are all colors: violet, blue, green, white. Then second question is about words like harmless, guilty, innocent, fearless. Third question is on numbers: 44, 66, 132, 300. And the fourth one again is on some medical terminology there, right? Diphtheria, cataract, whooping cough, and encephalitis. So here again, we can have questions based on words, questions based on numbers, questions based on letters. What we see on the screen are only questions based on words and numbers. So I'll give you again about a minute or a little more than that to attempt all these 4, and your time starts now. Well, I want all of you to make sure that you not only give the answers, but also the reasons that you have chosen to pick the odd one, right? Got it? All right. So I think I see a lot of responses here. Let me just quickly go through a few of them and understand your reasoning behind choosing the odd ones. So yeah, a lot of responses here. I'm only looking at those where we have got some explanation. Like Prahlad here has mentioned that, or one question is mentioned that others are characters of a person or behavior. So maybe he's talking about question number 2 here, right? Where we have words like harmless, guilty, innocent, fearless. All right. So sounds proper reason there. Vinay Kumar has mentioned the answers as white, harmless, and 300. So I think you have to give us the reasons as well, Vinay. Bhargavi says the answer for question number 3 is C, because all other options have same digit twice. Okay. Okay, so that looks like one reason, but I think we have a better reason for the question based on numbers here. While your answer is correct, 132 looks like the correct answer, but I don't think you've got the real reason behind choosing that odd one. Prahlad says the answer for the last one is cataract, because all others are related to lung diseases. Well, one has to be strong in medicine to be able to answer this. Again, you don't have to be an expert there, but yeah, some basic idea about these terms here would give you an insight. Yeah, Purvika says, I'm not clear in the last question. Many of you have mentioned that white is the answer for the first one because it's not a part of the Vibgyor, right? The 7 colors or the rainbow colors that you talk about. Then, yeah. Any other reasons there? No. Okay, here we have Chaitra, who has answered a couple of questions. First one is D, and the reason given is that it's a primary color. Well, I don't know what exactly you mean by that. And for the fourth one, your answer is B, because it's not a disease. Good. So I think some reasoning there for fourth one. Let us look at the questions now, right? Okay. So here we go. The idea is to find out the odd one in the following questions, right? So it says identify the odd one out in the following questions. The first one, you see violet, blue, green, and white. Well, most of your marked answers option D. I also think it should be D. And clear reasons are that, basically, I mean, like some of you have said that it's not a rainbow color, then it is not a part of the this category called mixture, right? Here, you know what these colors, right? These are like colors that that come in the rainbow based on their wavelength. These are put in this order. So violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, and red. Okay. So white is not a part of this, and like somebody has mentioned, white is a primary color. Well, I don't know what exactly is that, but clear and simple answer is option D, white. Now look at second one. The words here are harmless, guilty, innocent, and fearless. I think most of you have got option B as the answer, and I also think the answer should be option B. I think a couple of you have marked harmless as well, but looks like guilty is the answer. And I think one solid reason that one of it pointed out is that harmless, innocent, and fearless are all characteristics. Guilty is not a characteristic. Like one is harmless by nature, right? One is innocent by nature. One is fearless by nature. But you can't be guilty by nature. I mean, you can be guilty for some reason, but you can't be guilty in general that way, right? I think guilty is the odd one there. Okay. Other reasons pointed out were that guilty is a negative word, and harmless, innocent, and fearless are all positive words. So different ways of looking at it, but guilty is the answer. Now, third one, based on numbers here, we have to find the odd one. It says 44, 66, 132, 300. While all of you have marked 300 as the answer with different reasons, but I mean the right reason here is that the first three options are multiples of 11. This is 11 times 4, 11 times 6, and this is 11 times 12, while 300 is not a multiple of 11. One interesting reason that we have got from one of you is that, one of you had marked 132 as the answer. And the reasoning was 44 has got the same digit repeating, 66 has got the same digit 6 repeating, and 300 has got the digit 0 repeating here. But that's not as strong as reason when compared to the multiples, right? The multiples of 11 that we've talked about. So I think 300 is the correct answer for this one. And look at the last one. Now, this is something where again you need to be, you need to know about these words, right? It is like the question that you have solved an analogy, right? Quack is to duck. So nay is related to what? So there, if you don't know what those words mean, you'll not be able to answer. Here again, if you do not know what these terms exactly mean here, it will be difficult to answer. Now, if you kind of Google and find out, you will realize that all the options A, C, and D are caused due to bacteria. These are all bacterial infections, right? Be it diphtheria or whooping cough or encephalitis, except cataract. So I think option B is the odd one there. All right. I'll be very honest, I had no clue about the answer for this one. I also had to Google and find it out. So the point that I would like to make here is when you are solving these questions or attempting these questions in the exam, if you do not have any clue about what these words mean, just skip and move to the next one. Don't spend your precious time in trying to find out what could be the reason and waste your time there. Okay. You either know the answer to these questions or you do not know the answer. Right? Maybe in questions like the first one here, where there are simple colors used, you may have to think a little bit because you know all these words. It's just that you have to classify them based on a common property or a characteristic. Similarly, you know the meaning of these words. So here, maybe you'll spend some time trying to find out what could be the odd one. But here, when you do not even know the meanings, no point in wasting your time there. Okay, so be careful. While analogy and classification can actually be easy, or actually are easy questions to solve, sometimes you can get trapped. So you have to make sure that you don't get trapped there. All right. So I think that's about it. Let me now move to the next set of questions. I think so this is about general intelligence and reasoning. I mean, I don't see anything complex here. Let me present the next one. Okay, so here we have questions on series completion, right? Completion of series. Try this out. Choose the correct alternatives from the given ones that will complete the series, right? That will complete the series. So the first one here is ADG, GJM, MPS, question mark. So you have to find what comes in place of question mark. And the next one here is based on numbers 3, 10, 101, So what should come in place of question mark? I'll give you just about 45 seconds for this, and your time has already started. Okay, I think we have got some arguments for the questions that we have solved based on classification. One such argument that I see is from, Tehsina Sheikh, where the point is that cataract is the eye disease, so that is different from others. Well, cataract is eye disease, but what about other diseases? I think when I Googled about it, I found that the option D there, which was encephalitis, is related to brain, right? Then cough is not related to brain. Maybe you can say lungs or something. So you have to give, I mean, you don't tell me that cataract is related to eye. You tell me that the remaining three are related to this. And so these form a group, right? Finding out one doesn't mean that you have to actually find the odd one. You have to find out which three are similar based on a common property. So do you think the remaining three there are related to some other organ in the body except cataract, which is related to eye? If yes, please comment here and we will see if you have to relook at the question. Then Abhishek Srivastav has mentioned that why not 44 for question number 3? Well, Abhishek, you have to tell me why should it be 44 for question number 3 there? Because my clear reason there was 44, 66, and 132 were all multiples of 11, while 300 was not a multiple of 11. So why do you think 44 is the odd one? What is common in 66, 132, and 300? Okay, maybe because these three are multiples of 6. Now I got your point. That 66, 132, and 300 are multiples of 6 except 44. Okay, I take that reason, but yeah. So that way it's confusing. I agree with what Abhishek has mentioned, right? Why can't it be 44? It can be 44 if you look at multiples of 6. 66 is a multiple of 6, 132 is a multiple of 6, and so is 300. But I think when you look at 6 and 11, what looks more appropriate is 11 because that's like a prime number, right? And yeah, I think I don't have a solid argument against what you have mentioned there. So what should we do, guys? Yeah, I think based on some arguments raised there, I'm just going back to the previous slide for a moment. Right, some of you have mentioned that it can be 44 as well here because 66, 132, and 300 are all multiples of 6 except 44. And I said 300 is the answer because the remaining three are multiples of 11. But if you look at multiples of 6 and multiples of 11, I mean, I know in general both are like similar reasons, but multiples of 11 sounds better. And if I get, to be very honest, I did not even think about multiples of 6 here. Right? The moment I saw 44, 66, 132, I thought, yes, multiples of 11, and hence 300 is the answer. But by any chance, let's say if I get stuck in the exam with this two possibilities, I would skip it and move to the next. Or I would have actually marked option D. I'm ready to take that chance. Getting it? I mean, you have to take a call and that's it. I'm ready to take that chance. I would have marked option D as the answer. Although option A looks possible if you look at the numbers being multiples of 6. Yeah, so one case where you don't know what exactly would be the reason and what is the answer. Good, I think good observation, but I would still go for 300. Okay, let's look at these two questions now, quickly. So series completion, what do we see here? ADG, GJM, MPS. Now, like I've mentioned in the question based on analogy, just go by the positions of these letters. So if you see A, First, look at all the first letters, right? A is number 1, G is number 7, and M is 13. So what do you see? Plus 6, 1 plus 6 is 7, 7 plus 6 is 13. So this also ideally should be plus 6, 13 plus 6, 13 plus 6 is 19. And what's the 19th letter? S. So the answer should start with S. Yes, all the options here start with S. So I think we'll have to go for second position then. D is 4, J is 10, and P is 16. Again, you see plus 6, right? 4 plus 6, 10, 10 plus 6, 16. So 16 plus 6, 22. The next position should be 22. What is 22? V. V. So SV, 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 option C eliminated, option D eliminated. And quickly look at the last one. G is 7, M is 13, and S is 19. So 7 plus 6, 13, 13 plus 6, 19, 19 plus 6, 25. 19 plus 6, 25. What is the 25th letter? Y. So SVY, option B would be the answer. Right? Look at the next one. This is a number series based question. Very interesting. It says 3, 10, 101, and question mark. So what comes in place of question mark? I think I could get the logic in like 5 seconds when I saw this question first. And I'm sure most of you are also able to do the same. Except 1 or 2. Like I can see Purvika mentioning that I do not know the answer for second one. Logic is like that. I mean, you may or may not get it. So never spend too much time on such questions. If you're able to crack it in the first 15-20 seconds, well and good. Otherwise, just move to the next one. Now, the idea here is this. 3 squared plus 1 is 10. Similarly, 10 squared plus 1 is 101. You're getting it? 10 is 3 squared plus 1. 101 is 10 squared plus 1. So question mark should be what? 101 squared plus 1. 101 squared plus 1. And what is 101 squared plus 1? What is 101 squared? It will be 10,101 plus 1, 10,000. Sorry, 10,201. 10,201 plus 1, 10,202. Right? Sorry, 10,202. I'm sorry. Option C. So option C, 10202 will be the answer. Clear? Let's look at the next one quick. I think this would probably be the last one before we close the session today. Quick. Got it? Okay, option C is what all of you have marked, right? 2, 5, 1, 3, 4. So what we have to do here, again, a popular question from SSC exams that comes under general intelligence and reasoning, where we have to arrange the given words in a meaningful order, right? So like ascending or descending or increasing, decreasing kind of order there. But what do you mean by ascending or descending in words like tree, seed, flower, fruit, plant? Maybe the stages of growth, right? So the words here are like tree, seed, flower, fruit, plant. Now tell me, what does it start with? If you look at these words, you know that they're like different stages of the life cycle of a fruit, right? So what do you think it starts with? It starts with the seed, right? First, what we sow is seed. So number 2, right? Seed. Then what do we get out of seed? Do we get a tree immediately? No. Do we get a flower? No. Do we get a fruit? No. What we get first is a plant. Seed gives a plant, right? Then what comes next? So just try and eliminate options. Don't try to do the whole thing there, right? You know that it should start with seed, number 2 first, followed by a plant. Seed will not give a flower or fruit or tree immediately, right? It will give a plant. What is small is a plant. So 2 and 5. Look at the options. A, B, and D gets eliminated. So 2, 5, And then just check if the sequence makes sense. Seed, plant, then we have tree, we have flower, and we have fruit. Yeah, looks good, right? We get a seed, from a seed we get a plant, from a plant we get a tree. The tree gives a flower, and the flower then bears a fruit. So option C is the correct one. Okay. So I think we are at 7 o'clock now. Time to close the session, but I would like to just take one more before saying a bye to all of you. So let me get that question. So overall, I think you must not be worried about this section, right? The only thing you must focus on is to make sure that you maximize your score here. Let's take one question on syllogism before we close it, because that's a very interesting topic. And we usually get 1 to 2 questions in the SSC exams from that topic there. Right. So here's the question. See what it says. In each questions below are given 3 statements followed by 2 conclusions, 1 and 2. You have to take the given statements to be true even if they seem to be at variance from commonly known facts. Read all the conclusions and then decide which of the given conclusions logically follows from all the given statements, disregarding commonly known facts. Okay. And your answer would be option A if only conclusion 1 follows, option B if only conclusion 2 follows, option C if either conclusion 1 or 2 follows, and option D if neither conclusion 1 nor 2 follows. So try and do this quick. 3 statements and 2 conclusions. What are the statements? All roads are buses, no bus is train, some trains are platforms. And the 2 conclusions are some platforms are roads and some trains are roads. So you have what, 40 seconds for this? Your time starts now. Done? All right, let's take it up now. Time is up, and I see most of you have got the answer is option D, right? We have Rohan, Purvika, Samiksha, right? Lakshmi Narayana, and many others there who have got option D as the answer, which is neither conclusion 1 nor 2 follows. So what do we do? Draw the basic diagram first, right? Draw the basic diagram. Let me tell you, Venn diagrams is the best way to solve questions from syllogisms. It may appear to be lengthy and time consuming, but it's actually not. Once you get used to it, it becomes very, very easy to use Venn diagrams to solve questions from syllogisms. So look at the statements. All roads are buses. All roads are buses. Draw the basic diagram. All roads are buses. No bus is a train. So no bus is a train. Bus and train would not overlap with each other. All the roads are buses and no bus is a train. Some trains are platforms. Some trains are platforms. Some trains are platforms. So there's some overlapping between trains and platforms. This is the basic diagram. And what is meant by the basic diagram? Minimum overlapping or minimum encroachment between different sets. Now look at the conclusion. The first one, some platforms are roads. Well, if you look at the basic diagram, some platforms and are roads does not satisfy, right? This particular conclusion, number 1 here, fails in the basic diagram itself. Some platforms are road. We clearly see that no platform is road. And the thumb rule is that if a conclusion does not satisfy the basic diagram, it is wrong. So we can conclude that conclusion number 1 is wrong, right? Some platforms are roads is wrong because it does not satisfy the basic diagram. Look at the second conclusion. Some trains are roads. Some trains are roads. This again does not satisfy the basic diagram, right? Does it satisfy some trains are roads? No. And it will never overlap. You do anything there. You draw any number of possible diagrams. Not even a single diagram will show an overlapping between trains and roads. Because we clearly know that buses and trains cannot touch each other. And roads are completely enclosed by buses. So if trains cannot touch bus, how will it go and touch roads inside that? So some trains being roads is impossible. So second one also does not follow. So then our answer should be neither conclusion 1 nor true follows. Okay, and these are definite conclusion types, right? Both are definite conclusions. These are not possibility types. If they were possibilities, we would have checked using possible diagrams, or we would have checked at least one diagram that could satisfy it. But a definite conclusion should satisfy all the diagrams. And both the conclusions here do not satisfy the basic diagram itself. Hence, both of them are false. And with that, we come to the end of this session. So I thank you all for joining us here. I would repeat myself that the general intelligence and reasoning section of all the SSC exams is a sitter. I mean, no doubt one can score 45 plus if the weightage is 50 marks, or 23, 24 marks out of 25 in the new scheme of examination. Okay, so make sure that you start with this section, right? Don't be in a hurry, because though the questions are easy and do not take much time, if you are in a hurry, you may miss out on important clues there and end up answering, giving wrong answers. So that's about it. Just a little practice will help you score more. So keep practicing and take very good care of yourselves. I'll see you all in the next session. All the very best for your SSC CHSL Tier 1 exam. Take care.